You just opened an investing account, and one question stops you cold. Do you let a robot run your money for you, or do you grab the wheel and do it all yourself? Pick wrong, and it quietly costs you for decades. This isn't just a style choice. Your answer decides how much you pay in fees, how much time and effort you give up, and honestly, how big your portfolio looks 30 years from now. So let's settle it today. In the next few minutes, you'll know exactly which path fits your brain, your schedule, and your wallet. No jargon, no salesman, no hype. Just a clear, honest breakdown so you can choose with total confidence. First, the Robo-Advisor. It's an automated service that asks about your goals and how much risk you can stomach, then builds you a diversified portfolio of low-cost funds. It manages the whole thing for you. The real appeal is simple. It runs on autopilot. It automatically rebalances when your mix drifts, and many even do tax loss harvesting to trim your tax bill. You answer a few questions once, then mostly walk away. The trade is the fee. A robo-advisor typically charges around 0.25% of your money each year. That's roughly $25 per $10,000 invested, and it sits on top of the fund's own expense ratios. Now the other path. Self-directed investing means you open a brokerage account and run the show yourself. You pick the funds, you decide the amounts, you hit the buttons, and you handle the rebalancing on your own. The huge upside? Control and cost. There's no advisory fee skimming your account every year. You can build any portfolio you want, exactly how you want it. Every dollar you save on fees stays invested and working. But control has a price too, just not in dollars. It demands knowledge, time, and discipline. And one detail nobody mentions matters most. A single panic decision can cost you more than years of robo fees combined. Let's put them side by side. Point 1. Effort. The robo-advisor is set it and forget it. Self-directed is hands on the wheel. If checking your portfolio sounds like a chore, that tells you something already. Point 2. Cost. Self-directed wins on raw fees because you skip the advisory charge entirely. But cheap only helps if you actually do the work right. A neglected account with no rebalancing isn't a bargain. Point 3. Behavior. This is the quiet one. A robo keeps you steady and stops you from doing something dumb in a crash. Going solo, you're your own worst enemy if you can't keep your hands off the panic button. Point 4. Learning. Self-directed teaches you how investing actually works because you live every decision. The robo keeps it simple, but you stay a passenger. Ask yourself, do you want to learn or just arrive? Now let me show you why this whole fee debate isn't small. Fees don't just cost you once. They compound against you, year after year, quietly eating a slice of your returns for every single decade you invest. Picture $100,000 growing at 7% a year for 30 years. Left completely untouched by any fees, it becomes roughly $760,000. That's the pure, quiet power of compounding doing its work. Now shave off 0.25% every year for that robo-service. You land somewhere around $710,000. That gap, tens of thousands of dollars, is the literal price of the convenience. Now hear me clearly. That gap isn't a ripoff. For a hands-off person, that fee can be the best money ever spent because it stops the costly panic mistakes that would have blown a far bigger hole in the account. So which one is actually for you? Forget what sounds smart. The honest answer comes down to one brutal question. Will you, the real you, actually sit down and manage this consistently for years and years? If your gut says no, or you feel a wave of dread just thinking about it, the robo-advisor is your friend. Hands-off, automatic, diversified, and guarded against your worst instincts. That's a genuine win, not a cop-out. But if you crave control, enjoy learning, and you know you'll stay consistent and calm through a crash, self-directed lets you keep every fee dollar and build exactly what you want. The key word there is consistent. And you might need to hear this permission. There's no shame in either path. The worst choice isn't robo or self-directed. The worst choice is staring at the fork forever and never investing a single dollar at all. Let's make this practical. Step 1. Run the time test. Honestly count how many hours a month you'll spend on this. 0 to 1 hour points you to a robo. Several happy hours point you toward going solo. Step 2. Run the panic test on yourself. Imagine your account suddenly dropping 30% overnight. Would you calmly hold steady, or would you sell everything in a fright? If you'd sell, you need the guardrails a robo quietly provides. Step 3. You can blend them. Many people run a hands-off robo account for the bulk of their money, then keep a small self-directed account to learn and experiment. You don't have to marry just one path. Step 4. Whichever you pick, automate the contributions. Set up an automatic transfer every payday into the account. The biggest driver of your results isn't the path, it's how much you steadily put in. Now dodge the traps. Mistake 1. Picking self-directed for the bragging rights, then never actually managing it. An ignored solo account with no rebalancing often does worse than the robo you were too proud to use. Mistake 2. Choosing a robo and then ignoring the total cost. Remember, that advisory fee sits on top of the fund expense ratios. Always check both numbers so you know the real all-in price you're paying each year. Mistake 3. Chasing the cheapest option while bleeding from emotional trades. If saving a tiny fee tempts you into panic selling, you didn't save anything. You paid the most expensive fee of all in losses. Step back and see it plainly. Both paths can build real wealth. A robo and a disciplined self-directed investor, contributing the same amount for 30 years, end up in remarkably similar places. The vehicle matters less than the fuel. The fuel is your contributions and your consistency. A perfect strategy you abandon loses to a simple one you stick with for decades. Whichever path keeps you invested through the scary times is the right one for you. Let's lock this in. A robo-advisor builds and manages a diversified portfolio for you, automatically rebalances it, often harvests tax losses to cut taxes, and typically charges around 0.25% a year for all that hands-off convenience. Self-directed means you control everything with no advisory fee, but it costs you time, knowledge, and the discipline to not panic. Choose by your honest answer to the time test and the panic test, and then automate it. And never forget the quiet villain. Fees compound over decades, so even a small percentage matters. But emotional mistakes can dwarf any fee. The best path is simply the one you'll actually stick with, calmly, for years. Here's your challenge this week. Take the 2 tests on yourself, the time test and the panic test, and decide your path. Then open the account and set up 1 automatic contribution. Don't leave the fork unsolved. Quick question for the comments. Are you Team Robo-Advisor or Team Self-Directed, and what's the one thing holding you back from starting? Tell me below. I read every single one and I'll help you think it through. If this finally made the choice click for you, like the video so more beginners find it, subscribe so you catch the next money lesson, and share it with that one friend stuck staring at their investing account.